Hi guys, happy Wednesday, October 21st. So today we're going to be going over our lesson on Wednesday. So I'm going to click on the Wednesday folder. And our October lesson is right here. So when I click on it, it takes me to the parliamentary procedure. So yesterday we talked about how to debate, and the day before that we talked about communication. And so since then, we are going to then move into the parliamentary procedure. So the parliamentary procedure is a set of guidelines for proper behavior and interaction between people. So basically, the first day we talked about what is the communication process. It's a conversation between two people, right? You have a speaker and a listener, otherwise known as a sender and a receiver. And the sender encodes a message through some kind of channel, and the receiver decodes the message through the channel, and then they give feedback according to whatever the message was, whatever they received. Then we talked about how you can use that method, that communication procedure, that process, and you could then have debates. You could take an issue that you did not see eye to eye with and have a argument. You remember when we talked about argument, we said that an argument needed to have an assertion, a reason, and evidence. If it did not have reason and evidence, that assertion became an opinion. And while opinions are valid in their own right, they only reflect the beliefs of a few people, whereas an argument can be supported. So when we are having these debates, we like to have a set of guidelines for proper behavior when we're having these discussions. And so this is created to ensure everyone gets a chance to speak, nobody gets interrupted, time is used effectively, and many governing bodies use this. England's Parliament uses it, which is why it was named parliamentary procedure. Our U.S. Congress uses it, the United Nations uses it, and major corporations. So, as a way to talk about the parliamentary procedure, well, first of all, there are different principles. So, a principle is a key idea. And there are 7 key ideas that you need to remember about parliamentary procedure. Again, only one issue can be discussed at a time. If you have more than one issue, everything gets kind of jumbled up. So you really want to focus in, narrow in on one issue at a time. All members have equal and basic rights: the right to vote, the right to be heard, and the right to oppose. So everyone has those rights, no matter who you are, what the color of your skin is, where you came from, it doesn't matter. All members have an equal and basic right, so the core right to vote, to be heard, and to oppose. The rights of the minority must be protected. So you want to protect even your basic members. It happens that way even when we talk about other things, even in nature. You have wolves will have things set so that their youngest and their oldest members are in the center of the pack, so that they are protected. Their minority is protected. So you want to have the minority protected, those rights. No member can speak until recognized by the chairperson. So you can't just say, "Can I interrupt here?" Because that's not cool. You can't just interrupt. You can raise your hand, and the chairperson, whoever is in charge, or the moderator can say, "All right, you can speak." But you cannot speak until you're recognized by the chairperson. Just like in class, you have to raise your hand before the teacher will allow you to speak. Every member can speak to the issue on the floor. However, no one can speak a second time as long as another wants to speak a first time. So if we have Jill, Bobby, and Sue, And Jill and Bobby have spoken a couple of times, and suddenly Sue has an idea, and so does Jill. Well, Jill can't speak until Sue gets her chance. Everyone has the basic right to be heard. So if Sue hasn't used her chance to talk yet, and then she wants to talk, everyone else has to wait who's already spoken, and Jill has that right to speak. She has the floor because she has not spoken yet. A majority vote decides an issue. So you must be, a majority rules is going to be the overall consensus. It's not, oh, well, Chad is the most popular one, so whatever Chad says, go. No, it's majority rules. And finally, the chairperson, the one in charge, is strictly impartial. They cannot take a side on the issue. They cannot take a side on the issue. They are simply there to make sure that everything gets filed out and that all sides are heard. So we're going to look at an example of parliamentary procedure that's used in schools and that is used around the world. And that's called Model United Nations, otherwise known as Model UN. So what is Model UN? Model UN, or Model United Nations, is an academic simulation. That means they practice doing this, of the United Nations, where students play the role of delegates from different countries and attempt to solve real-world issues. So each team has a country that they must represent. For example, my team, Miss Leha's team, could be assigned Ireland, and Mr. Reynolds' team could be assigned Great Britain. Well, Great Britain and Ireland have many issues. So maybe the big issue that we're going to talk about between Ireland and Great Britain is the fact that Ireland wants to be its own separate country away from Great Britain. They want their whole country back. They don't want it to be separated between Northern Ireland and the independence of Ireland. And Great Britain doesn't want to give up Northern Ireland. So then Mr. Reynolds and I, as our teams, we have some time to get our data together, because remember, evidence is everything. And then we simulate playing those countries and try to reach an agreement. If we cannot reach an agreement, then we keep going until we do so, or something that is as close to an agreement as we can get. So if you want to watch this video, it talks more about what Model UN is. It's a really, really great video, so please take a look at that. So why are we learning about Model UN? Model UN teaches us a tried and true format for debating, which is that parliamentary procedure. And we need to learn how to debate respectfully, calmly, and with an overall end game. So when Model UN, their whole point, their end game is to reach an agreement. They want peace. The United Nations gets together with all the nations around the world. When they meet up in New York City, their entire basis of getting together is to reach peaceful agreements without having to go to war. So we want to figure out how to make these peaceful agreements, using this parliamentary procedure, so that we don't go to war with our friends, with our neighbors, with people over Facebook or Instagram or whatever. We want to have these discussions, and we want to learn to see the other side of the argument and come to some sort of agreement. So your DA question today is to pick one of these parliamentary procedures and discuss why it is so important. So why is it important when we're having a discussion, when we're having a debate, when we're having some kind of argument? And make a comment on someone else's agreeing or disagreeing with their explanation. Remember, you want to be respectful. We're having discourse here. We're not having a shouting match. So if Mr. Reynolds says that one issue can be discussed at a time is really great, but I think that being able to discuss two issues back and forth would be even better, then I could say, I understand where you're coming from. Unfortunately, I disagree with you, and I believe this, and here's why. Now, I don't believe that. I believe one issue at a time can be discussed, but again, that's where that goes. Or that you agree and tell me why you agree with that person. And that's pretty much what you're doing today. It's very heavy, which is why I want to give you that chance, Mr. Reynolds, and I want to give you that chance to really flesh out that DA question. You must complete the DA question today. You don't know, it could be counted as a formative later on. Especially if you all give really great answers, that's easy 100. So again, you're going to pick one of these issues and you're going to discuss why it's important. I'm sorry, not issues, one of these principles. Making a comment on someone else's agreeing or disagreeing with their explanation of the principle they chose. And when you're done, that's it. And I will see you guys later. Bye.